Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things we learned from Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. It's as if the footballing gods have said to us, well, it's been an exciting week. You signed Enzo Fernandez, and by the way, he's absolutely exceptional, just as we thought he would be. But to be entertained, you've had your entertainment for the week. Transfer deadline day was as entertaining as it gets, because today, Chelsea once again have put in a pretty feeble display. It was poor. It was very, very poor. We looked seriously lacking creativity again. I think there were positives from certain players. I want to make sure you guys are subscribed here on our way to 250,000 subscribers on GBFC. And despite it being an awful result, yet again, I would love to ask you to hit the like button on this video today. The game itself, Chelsea dominated possession in the first half. We dominated possession in the second half, but in terms of creating clear-cut chances, we were poor. Kai Havertz probably with the best chance in the first half. He hits the post after taking far too long after a sumptuous ball from Hakim Ziyech. But once again, as soon as he gets into the box, the finishing is atrocious. Now, obviously, we know with all of these new signings, it's not just simply going to be a case of they all come in, we spend all of this money, and then results immediately improve. I think it would be very foolish of me to not praise Fulham for what was, once again against Chelsea, a very good performance. I thought Willian looked better than half of our attacking players once more at 34 years old, the former Chelsea player, ex-Arsenal as well. Willian puts in a phenomenal shift. I thought De Cordova-Reid was good for Fulham. I think Palhinha is a quality central midfielder. But we've got to begin box number one. There's not really much to talk about in this game. Fulham were better than Chelsea. Chelsea looked void of ideas again. And it's a team that are going to take some time to play together. But somebody who comes in today and puts in a magnificent performance was Enzo Fernandez. Considering it was only 2.5 days ago, really, that Enzo Fernandez becomes a Chelsea player. You've got Badiashile, Todd Boehly, they're in the stands, they're watching him today, and they're probably thinking, we have spent our money on a serious player. I thought Enzo Fernandez controlled the game for Chelsea. I think particularly in the first half, what we saw was Enzo trying to get into more advanced positions. He also probably had Chelsea's best attempt on goal, and it just goes wide after a little bit of ping pong around the edge of the area. Enzo hits it, and it is very close to tuck it into Bernd Leno's far post. It was a really good performance from him. I think he controlled the tempo for Chelsea, looked to play balls over the top, but Mount and Kai Havertz were not on it tonight. Absolutely not on it yet again. And we'll get onto those guys in a moment, but he's always trying to look to play a progressive pass, whether it is to switch the play. He's always looking to go forward. And what I thought was brilliant about Enzo, and again, I don't mean to criticise Jorginho when I say this, but you have to mention how when Jorginho plays those passes, he quite often just stays in front of the defenders and doesn't keep going up with the play with the ball. Whereas Enzo does that. I think he got rid of it quite quickly. He never kept it in his feet. And I think Enzo Fernandez tonight, he was the best player on the field. I think you've got to give Fulham players probably would get man of the match officially, because it was a very hard fought point for them. And again, despite Chelsea not offering a lot going forward, we did control the game. We did control the possession. So Fulham had to work significantly harder to make the ball work for them, to actually be able to come away with that point. Chelsea did have the possession, but once again, too much going backwards, too much side to side. But Enzo Fernandez was a player who I think absolutely excelled. Somebody who didn't excel was Mason Mount. It's as if he was trying to play in Mudryk's position, which inadvertently took Mykhailo Mudryk out the game. So even though Mudryk goes off at half time, I don't necessarily think it was his fault. There were some rumours in the commentary that I was listening to that maybe he picked up a knock. You wouldn't be surprised based off of Chelsea's injury record. But I think Mason Mount today, even when he did get the ball and he was trying to make the passes, he just looks so void of confidence. I apologise if I sound and look a little bit tired. It's because I'm absolutely knackered. It's 6 o'clock in the morning here, and I don't really have much positive to say. And I think there was moments in the first half where Chelsea were getting the ball passed around very quickly. And Mason Mount, all there is one more pass to make. And he fluffs it up. I think Mason Mount has got to have some time on the sidelines. I know at the moment it's difficult because we've still got so many people coming back from injury. Graham Potter keeps on picking him, and he's too out of form to be starting games for me. Box number 3 is Kai Havertz, once again playing further advanced. Look at the difference when Fofana comes on, and also look at the difference in Havertz. He didn't do anything tonight. Let's be honest. Kai Havertz didn't do anything. He had 2 good chances, both of which awful finishing. And as well as that, like when he's trying to get his back into defenders, it's as if he jumps once he knows he's already lost the battle. The defender's already won the ball and then he decides to do like this little hop in the air. I don't get it. And I think what we've seen tonight from Fofana when he came on, it's easy to talk about Havertz when you compare him to David Fofana, who comes on and makes his debut and already looks like far more of a striker than Kai Havertz will ever be. Kai Havertz is not a striker. We have to understand this. João Felix is back. Chelsea keep another clean sheet again today, by the way, and we'll talk about the reason for that in a moment. But Kai Havertz is never going to score us a goal playing up top. I'm overseeing him as a striker. If Kai Havertz is going to play for Chelsea, it's got to be as a number 10. If we're going to ever get a tune out of Kai Havertz again in a Chelsea shirt, it cannot be as the striker. I'd rather see Raheem Sterling further up the field. I'd rather see Noni Madueke further up the field, and David Fofana is a better striker than Kai Havertz. That was proven in his cameo performance that he has tonight. Box number 4 is a green for Badiashile. When we're talking about Enzo Fernandez, we're talking about a player who you can see immediately comes into Chelsea, vindicates the money that we've spent on him. Yeah, okay, he didn't do anything tonight to immediately fully repay off 106 million, but you can see just how good Enzo Fernandez is. Badiashile is absolutely worth every single penny that we spent on him too. Thiago Silva again tonight, fantastic. That partnership, 3 clean sheets in a row. And for me now, I don't see how Kalidou Koulibaly can get anywhere near to being in the starting 11 again, because Badiashile, time and time again, is proving that he's got everything, whether it is the last-ditch tackle when he's the last man from a standing position. Sometimes, as a defender, you've just got to hoof it forward. And when you watch Badiashile play, he seems to make the correct decision when it comes to either getting rid of it, playing it out wide. He does well. There were times in this game today where Cucurella, who was absolutely awful, I've not given Marc Cucurella a box because I wanted to give one more positive before we go into another negative to finish this 6 things we learned video today. But Cucurella just kept putting Badiashile in poor positions. Cucurella constantly out of position, and then when the ball's at his feet, he doesn't know what he's doing with it. It looks as though he's about 2 seconds behind the rest of the game. It's as if like the end of his hair is like picking up some kind of radio signal which delays everything that should happen at the pace in which it should be happening with the game. Cucurella was poor. Badiashile was absolutely fantastic. He's box number 4. Box number 5, I've given a green again. Now, even though Chelsea didn't score, we didn't get the job done. We get another poor, awful result at home. I've given a green to Noni Madueke, who I thought came on and looked very bright indeed. What I like about Madueke is there are a few little flicks. He's got quite a heavy touch on the ball, but it's a heavy touch to try and get it out of his feet to then keep going with it. And I think Chelsea, when we look over time, I think seeing Mudryk be substituted at half-time isn't going to be something that determines whether or not he's a good player. Mykhailo Mudryk is still a quality footballer. He was just taken out of the game today by, I think, our own players. To be quite honest, Cucurella and Mount did not help him one bit in that first half. Madueke comes on and looks like a really bright spark. I think he's really good on the ball. I think his spatial awareness is also very good. And I think we might have a serious player on our hands here. Box number 6 is a red. We've got 3 greens, 3 reds today. And it is a red with the word gel written across it. Because for us to believe, if we come back to reality here for a second, we've been awful this season. We really, really have. Whether you want to blame Graham Potter for that or not, I think today he probably made the right decisions. I probably wouldn't have bought Mudryk off. I'd have bought Mount off and let Mudryk maybe drift inside a little bit. Madueke on the wing with Sterling. And Ziyech would have come off for me as well. But to think that we're just going to make all of these players come through, spend all of this money, and then everything is going to change immediately, as much as we need that, if we're going to be challenging and finishing in the top four, it's not going to happen. These players haven't played together before. One of them only arrived 48 hours ago, and he was the best player on the pitch. So looking forward, we've got to try and do something in the next game against West Ham before we go to Dortmund. Chelsea don't get the result we needed tonight, but it is 3 clean sheets in a row. Looking positive defensively, and I also want to say a massive shout out to Kepa. He had 2 real saves to make. The one from Mitrovic, which would have gone down as one of the best goals we've ever seen in the Premier League, catching the goalkeeper off the line, reminiscent of Beckham, Rooney. Brilliant save there, and a fantastic save to deny Pereira in the first half. I want to give a big shout out to Kepa. Enzo Fernandez, fantastic. Mount and Havertz, they need to be dropped. But anyway, 6 things we learned from Chelsea 0, Fulham 0. Not a great result. Let me know your 6 things in the comments below. Apologies for the camera not being up to scratch today with the lighting or whatever, but the missus is asleep and I really need to get some sleep too. I am knackered. Come on, you Blues.